Hyperia is the official name of the UK's tallest roller coaster coming to Thorpe Park in 2024. Now last night we were lucky enough to be at the park when they revealed the logo, the name and the theme for this exciting 236 foot tall roller coaster, and it really was a brilliant atmosphere. We were actually there for the preview night of Thorpe Park Fright Nights, and our vlog from that will be coming up later on this evening on the channel. But yes, at the end of the night they invited us into the marquee and of course revealed the name for what has been known as Project Exodus. It really was a brilliant moment, and before I get into this video talking about my thoughts on the name and the latest construction from Hyperia, here's a look at the moment that it was announced to us all in the marquee at Thorpe Park. It really was quite special.
Right now, a world exclusive. Please get ready for something really, really big.
Well, there we go. Hyperia, Find Your Fearless, coming to Thorpe Park next year. And it really was amazing just being there at the park for this announcement. So I'll always remember standing just a few hundred feet away from where they're building this 236 foot tall coaster and having it announced there right in front of us was amazing. Now, of course, the name itself, I do really like. There's been so many rumors and speculation about what the name was going to be. And yeah, I feel like Hyperia is a good name for this coaster. At the end of the day, it's a hyper coaster after all. So I think putting hyper in there is great. But yeah, Hyperia is fantastic. Along with that, we also got an idea now on the theme for this. It's going to be based around Hyperia, the fearless goddess. So I'm loving the fact that finally we're seeing another Merlin coaster that's not got this dark and depressing theme. This feels like it's going to be quite uplifting, very cinematic, and especially with that first snippet we heard there of the soundtrack for the ride. How amazing does that sound? It looks like, for me, this ride is going to be kind of stylized, similar to Icon at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Instead of having lots of heavy theming around, it's going to be the coaster, it's going to be the music, it's going to be this style, this big modern amazing experience, and I do really like that, especially for Thorpe Park, and with it being the record holder for the UK in terms of height and speed. I do really like the fact that they're going with this more uplifting feel of it, and also with the slogan Find Your Fearless. Quite an interesting one, that, Find Your Fearless. But yeah, it seems like that's the thing. They're trying to go down this encouragement route of you can do it, you know, you can find your fearless, you can take it on. So I am liking that. Instead of making this dark kind of terrifying theme, it's 236 foot tall, dare you take it on. It's like, no, you will have the courage to ride this, of course, with the fearless goddess. So I am loving that. The soundtrack's brilliant. I like the visuals and the logo looks really good. And yeah, overall, I think it's a very positive announcement from Thorpe Park. Of course, the name does sound quite similar to Hyperion, Energylandia in Poland. So I do think that's quite an interesting choice in regards to that. But also, it is different. It's not an exact copy of that. But yeah, Hyperia and Hyperia, they do sound quite similar. However, I do really really like the overall look of this. I think it's going to be a stylized kind of overall package and very inspiring, especially when you walk up to it with that epic music playing. I can just see it now. I think it's going to be lovely, especially on like a sunny day, you know, with the track color and that music. You can just feel that vibe. And yeah, I do love the fact we're going to have more details about this fearless goddess that it's all going to be based around. But let us know your thoughts on the name Hyperia down below in the video comments. Now, we were at Thorpe Park yesterday, so of course we checked out the latest construction. And yeah, as much as it hasn't gone vertical on site yet, it looks like we are days away. Lots more supports have been arriving at Thorpe Park over the past few days, as we can see from these official photos. Of course, we can also see the track sections that have started to arrive, the gold and white track. And yeah, it really does look brilliant. The white track there is actually for part of the lift hill, and the gold track for some of the lower sections, because that's the thing. All the lower sections will be gold, all the higher sections will be white on this too. But tell you what, I really do like the colour scheme and the logo. It's just all starting to come together now. It gets to this very exciting part, doesn't it? And yeah, in terms of what's actually happening on the site at the moment, still lots of groundwork taking place. And I think a lot of people, including myself, did think by now it would have already gone vertical. I think there's probably been a few delays to the groundwork, but you've got to think, they've got to make sure that this is being done right. We're seeing a massive beast of a coaster being built here. It's really tall. You've also got to think as well, Thorpe Park, it is an old quarry. You've got to make sure the foundations are done perfect for this. This coaster needs to be standing for 30, 40 plus years, not 5 or 6 before it needs foundation work. So I think with something like this, well, any ride, but especially something this tall, they've really got to make sure that the foundations are done right for this. I think that's why it took quite a while for it to get off the ground. You know, it's kind of like we've seen, you know, with Nemesis at Alton Towers, you know, it was done so quick, wasn't it, this year with the track? Along with that, the Legoland coaster, Drayton Manor coaster for next year, groundwork started, and already more's happening, it seems, than what we've seen down here on the site for Hyperia. But this is a big ride. You know, it's got some deep foundations. It needs to make sure it's standing, and also the land that it's being built on, maybe not as stable as some other places where they could build these coasters. So they've really got to make sure that they make it stable, they make it right, just to make sure that, you know, it's safe, and also it's going to last a long time and not affect the ride experience too. You know, so yeah, I'm really pleased they are doing everything that they need to, even though it seems like it's taken a while for things to get really exciting and off the ground. But yeah, they have started to bring some supports and over to the site. Track, I'm sure, will be soon to follow, and yeah, that means it will be going vertical soon. We've not seen any station go vertical or anything like that yet, or maintenance shed, but there is all the foundations, and you can just see those here for the station area for Hyperia. It feels weird calling it by its official name now. I was that used to Project Exodus, and I did really like the name Exodus, but you know what, this is also a great name too. In terms of across the rest of the site, you can just see finishing off the foundations, the ground pins, making sure all of that is right before we start seeing the supports go into place. It's also going to be interesting to see where they start with this, because access around the site is quite limited with all the trees around, and then also the fact you've got the big structure itself for this coaster. With it not having the longest layout, everything's quite compact. It's going to be interesting to see where they start building it. Are they going to start at the back and kind of, you know, and then work forwards with like the outward banked airtime hill and work back towards the station? Or are they going to kind of work the other way? Because in terms of cranes and access, I think it's going to be interesting to see, because yeah, it's quite as much as it's a big area, it's also quite tight in areas too. But that's all that's going on the site at the moment. Of course, we'll bring you more updates as we get them here on Theme Park Worldwide. What I do really like is that they updated all the boarding around the site. I think that looks really good. I'm sure it's probably going to get updated again now that the name's been revealed. But yeah, that does look fantastic. All the black and gold on there. And yeah, actually in the Thorpe Park shop, they've got this, a nice little model of the ride just there too. Hopefully the profiling's a lot better than on the model. As you can see there, yeah, the profiling doesn't look great. But still, I do appreciate the fact they've created a model, and that's just on display. You can't buy it. It's just on display inside the Thorpe Park Megastore, right in the centre of the park by Storm Surge, if you do want to go and see that. But overall, what an exciting kind of 24 hours. We've got the name, we've got the theme, we've heard the first part of the soundtrack, and it's about to go vertical imminently, which is very exciting. Hyperia, let us know your thoughts down below in the video comments. Stick with us here at Theme Park Worldwide for all the latest updates, and of course, our thoughts on this very exciting development for the UK. I think for me, the only thing now that I'm really not too keen on still is the length of the ride. I know we've got other short roller coasters in the UK that are brilliant, like Nemesis, for example, the Swarm, Stealth, all great rides that are short, and I'm sure this will be no different. However, I still wish for a coaster that's this tall and also the energy that it's going to create, it had a bit more to it. I have also noticed where you've got the splashdown element, looks like we've got a big kind of trim brake in there as well from the animation. I did spot that. So it's a shame that it's going to trim, it's going to build up all that speed, trim, and then have a couple of hills and then into the brakes. Would have loved it if there was another couple of helixes and airtime hills towards the end, but still, you can't have everything. I do like the layout. We've got some very unique elements. That first drop, going to be one of the best out there in the world probably, and also the outward bank airtime hill, that's going to be great. The other inversion on the ride, but yeah, I'm still a little bit concerned about the length for a hypercoaster, but we'll see how it goes. Hyperia, it's coming in 2024, and we'll see you all in our video later on from Thorpe Park Fright Nights. That leaves us with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you all later.